Welcome to Higher Frequencies.
Where do you go every time you leave? Why do you always gotta go somewhere away from me? I keep wondering if someday you'll just keep holding on. And like a fool, I just keep waiting till the hurry comes.
If you can find your way back home again, I hope you can find your way into my arms again.
Howdy, folks. We are back. And so just to kind of wrap up this last trip, I was leaving, I was in Alicante, and I'd finally gotten into this, this unlocked or opened up this creative, actually, I suppose it was maybe a creative blockage. I removed some creative blockage or just unearthed this creativity in me to start writing and start, just experimenting. And just meeting amazing friends there and just getting into this process and this routine and realizing it's like, I was kind of done my travel. Like, it's time to go home. And, cat was the old, here's people listening here like, okay, sorry, just brushing some hair off me. The old farm cat. And yeah, realizing that I wanted to go home, and I was building this new routine. I really liked it. And so, I'd only been to Spain. I said, let's go to Portugal. So off to Portugal I went. I think was going to have like 10 days there, something like that. So, and yeah, so it was, very like, here comes the rain. It was a very quick trip. It was just like, I'm going to go check out Lisbon and then go check out Porto. And so Lisbon was, it wasn't kind of my favorite kind of city, and I could see why. The locals there have had like issues with people. Well, it turned into this tourist town, and it just overrun it. And again, what happens with all of these places that are, have the like, and again, I think it was Lisbon was having a hard time, and they wanted infrastructure, wanted money, and then they made it easier for nomads and people to move there, and then it just got overrun and overcrowded and causing some huge problems for the locals and trying to be able to just rent and live and sustain. And so it has this, what they call like the theme park syndrome. It's just like, so I was there like, I'm just going to do like 3 nights or 4 nights or something like that. So it was just kind of a quick in and out. I mean, I still enjoyed it. I love Portugal. It was Portugal, and it was really cool. And I didn't do too much other than I went to Sintra, which it's this really amazing little town that's 40 minutes outside of Lisbon. You can just take a train and pop over there, and there's amazing castles, and I guess where the rich fancy folk used to live, and all this stuff. So that was really cool, and a lot of nature. Like, I ended up going on random trails, and that was a really unique experience. But it was funny. It was like there was some sort of magic that kind of turned off when I hit Portugal. Like, shouldn't say that, because there was magic in Lisbon. I wasn't really meeting people at the hostel. Maybe it wasn't the right hostel. Maybe it was just I needed some time for introspection, but it was like a younger crowd. And I think it was, again, you're in Lisbon, and it's It's not more so. It was a lot of younger people, and maybe it was just a hostel that I picked. But yeah, one night I was like, all right, I got to go out and do something tonight. And I had heard the hostel guy talk about like, it was like, oh, there's this like, talking to another guy about a secret bar and, where there's music, but you don't want to tell it. And I was like, oh, well, I'm a musician. And something I kind of, at the time, I kind of felt like I was almost lying about. But, I do play and write music, and I'm hoping to share that again sometime soon. And he was like, oh, okay, well, here's the bar. And he told me the place, and it was like amazing. So I go, and I think just go to try to find this bar. Hey, isn't that Rusty? It's what the heck is your name? Sorry, the cat's here. It's one of these foreign cats that just likes to follow me around. Anyways, and yeah, and so on my way, I saw this other bar, and I thought it was it, and you couldn't get in. There's this amazing like clarinet, just like the fado music in Portugal. It's amazing. It's like super cool. Um, and it's just like really, I can't even describe it. It's just like this vibrant, earthy, like jazzy, kind of funky, psychedelic, I don't know, like Latin kind of. Just it's amazing music. I'm probably, yeah, not describing that very well, but just what I'm thinking of here. Anyways, I get chatting with there was a guy outside the bar, and we started chatting, and of course he's like, oh, what are you into? What are you doing? And I just started sharing some of my experiences, and he was kind of an awake, conscious individual too, and we kind of hit it off. He was just out smoking, and he's like, well, here, we're gonna go to, and then I realized it's like, no, this isn't the bar, the Dejo, I believe it's called. I don't want to, I'm not, this is gonna blow up and ruin that bar, but, and he's like, yeah, let's go. Me and my friend are gonna go, like, come join us. It's like, fuck, sure, amazing. And so we find this place. I never would have found it because it was just like, and I shouldn't say that. I mean, I probably would have, but it just looked like it was closed. But you had to go and just like knock on the door. And then it was just this tiny room, like this room, not, whatever, three times the size of this or twice the size or something like that. Maybe like 20 some people in there. And it's just this tiny little bar. And so they knew him. We got right in, and got a table like pretty much right in front too, which is amazing. It just so happened to be free. And so I'm sitting there with these guys who, this music's playing is incredible. And then the bartender's like, hey, are you guys gonna go up? So, she had a flute with her as well too. And they were, telling me they're both musicians. Little did I know they were gonna play at the bar that night. And something told me, it was like, okay, like this is like, I got chills when they were kind of getting on stage and starting to set up. So like I just kind of put my phone down and hit record on the audio. And what came out of that still to this day was just like, and I'm going to put this at the end of the podcast. So yeah, you can hear it because I still have that clip. And it was just, yeah, it's music that I actually had, got something in my eye from that. And it was just this unbelievable. These guys are just incredible, and almost the guy's name, and I can't remember her name, but he's also got a band called Symbolico. And I did go and buy his like digital track online. It's awesome music, so check it out, Symbolico. And Almo, I don't know your last name. Sorry, brother. I hope is probably in the credits there. And this guy is just so I saw him. Yeah, he was playing with this like being a guitar player for this like I think a Grammy nominated like world like musician, and just really top notch, talented, amazing musicians that I just happened to run into, happened to meet that night, and then was given that gift of grace, and having that was just the highlight of Portugal for me, and just that experience alone, and getting that recording, because it would just it allowed me to, I was going through this other stage, seeing the other side of things, and going into lower frequencies in Portugal for whatever reason. It just like the magic was, and that was just like sparked me up, and it was just such an amazing gift. And I love that song. And I was actually, when I was doing my Dr. Joe Dispenza work, which he says to, like, part of manifestation, change the habit of being yourself, and all of these things that you can do that works, to make mind movies. So to play, like, you can have like this you have like a hypnosis thing at the start, and then like slides or pictures or movies of whatever you're trying to go towards, who you want to be, what you want to do in life, and kind of embody that vibration and feel that feeling and know that it's already been done, and then like get after it. And it allows the universe to, like, again, attract that energy towards you, and open up maybe more opportunities and potentials. If your soul's aligned for that, and if it makes sense. And I've some of these things have, like, that I put in that mind movie have, come true and helped, and I'm still walking kind of some of that path. So I put the music there because it would give me that state of just like this high frequency and chills, and it put me in this higher frequency. So it was one of the tracks I put on the music to listen to that. And so, yeah, that was my Lisbon, and then I went off to Porto, and this is kind of funny because it's like, um, I loved port wine. Part of my drinking process was realizing, like, because I used to, again, drink like an idiot, and used to just drink too much and hard alcohol, and to just like to down it. And I had that bad habit. So I was like, all right, step one, no more hard alcohol. And this was years ago, right? And but I didn't really like beer, and I was still in these thralls where I still like getting, if I could have two or three, it's like I still wanted to get a little drunk sometimes. So I wanted to get drunk sometimes at that point. But it was more so like, how can I do it slowly, more maturely, and more better for my body? And so port was the next best thing of, like, skipping down, going down the drinking ladder. As embarrassing as that is, it was part of my process of, like, letting it go, and not needing it, not wanting it, and understanding. Hmm, interesting, very interesting. As I'm contemplating that myself now in this career, in this, which I'm going to get to. Um, and so off to Porto, and I met up with my dear friend Thomas, who I had met in Mexico City in 2022. So we'd been chatting. He was over in Europe, and I was like, man, going to Portugal. And he's like, man, I'll come meet you. And this amazing young dude, it was a Dutch guy, yeah, amazing guy. So it was awesome. So met up with him, and he's great. He was like, doesn't really, doesn't really drink, or I don't even know if he was at the time. Maybe a beer or two with me, but so it was just chill. And I remember my highlight of Porto was actually, we took a train or a bus, took a couple buses into this little beach town. And did I mention that I love scavenger hunting for, like, rocks and shells and glass and all this stuff? This beach was just like, literally, I could just pick up my hand, like the sand was nothing but gems. I felt like the richest man in the world. And anyway, so that was fun, and that was my, like, big souvenir from Portugal. Was taking home bags of, like, shells and rocks, and I still have them. I love that stuff. So uh, it's a windy day here in Beaner's greenhouse for those watching it. So I hope the noise isn't too bad. Um, and that was it. Obviously I went to port tasting. So yeah, who know, they made, port was made in Portugal, and so, like, I didn't even kind of realize that. So it was really nice to go. Like, that was fun, and at least to try to make, again, because drinking can be very artful, which is what I've moved through as I'm transmuting my love of it. And me, like, it's like the craft beer, and like and done in lower doses and like good quality. So now I'm in Cape Breton right now, and they have Big Spruce here, which is organic, non-pasteurized. So it's like raw friggin' like, and it's organic, so there's no like none of the chemicals and stuff in it. So it's just, but still, like, and I don't think you don't want to drink like Mike was my buddy Mike again, Hawthorne was telling me, he's like, if you drink like the kitchen party, like you get a pretty rough hangover or whatever from it. But I think it's just because it's heavy, it's dense, it's earthy, but my God, it's delicious and it's amazing. So I split one of those with him. Actually, we split one of like, tried just to like, just to have these tastings, right? And just being like, oh, just again, this like, um, we're in the gene key of, oh, I can't, we're the gene key that we're in right now during the 6 days is the city of intoxication. And it's very funny. It's not in that way because again, some of this stuff is lower level shadow frequencies of your desires and trying to numb or trying to like need that for fun, and something I've worked with to be like, well, it's something that's nice if I'm out, or and that's part of the traveling. That's really fun to try the craft local delicacies. And when I do travel, what I always like to do, it's like, well, what is made here? You know what I mean? Like, what do you guys drink here? And what, it's like whatever, the rice whiskey in Thailand, and like, but it's, poof. There's something to that too, but again, I think that stuff is very, it's just all home, like that stuff's just homemade, and it's just stripped to the bone. So it is like pure that way. But I think it still will give you a nasty hangover. So maybe those chemicals that they're putting in is kind of, anyways, not that I drank much of that either, but, and that was kind of it. Other than what happened when I was in Portugal was, my last night. And again, this is where maybe I've seen, if I think the last couple nights, and again, I tend to do this, it's a bad habit of mine on the end of my vacations. Okay, maybe it's not a bad habit, or see, I can see that Catcom is in the gene keys. It signifies victim consciousness. Just gonna say, and Runty always seems to come around here when I'm talking about something that might signify I'm talking about playing a victim a little bit. Because because I attracted a robbery, an attempted robbery, by being drunk on the streets late at night, flashing my mouth off. That's what it is. So I was being an idiot, and talking to these guys, and I was drunk at the time, and they're chatting to me, and then yeah, one of the guys just went and like came behind me, put his arms, tried to like interlock my arms or whatever, but luckily I was strong enough. I fought them off, and just like, and they ran away. Like, I was honestly was annoyed at myself. I wish I chased them down, because they were kind of small, like dudes or whatever. I wish I chased them down and turned them in. But anyways, that's the only one time was in Tulum, and it was the same thing. They tell you, it's like don't be outside at night. The cops will friggin' rob you. Like, there's corruption. And sure enough, I was like staring at the moon one night. And luckily, I was like literally, 20 feet from the hostel, and just kind of like, enjoying the last moments of sipping the nectar of the stars before I go to bed. And probably a fake cop, I don't know, some drunken guy tried to rob me, but he didn't get my money either, so that was good. And just like that, I was back home to stay with my dear friends again in Sackville, and just again to be forever grateful. And this time it wasn't, as I was not graceful, and it was me just, but also like, this is where I got to realize some of this stuff is some of this stuff is not all glory and stuff. It's painful to go back to, and not painful, but it's me, and part of it, me even understanding these stories and stuff, it was very healing yesterday to go through my journals and to go through my book notes and everything to kind of, I'm going through this period where I want to put a lot of these out, and I really even am contemplating, just because I'm reading the Bower now again, and it seems crazy because I feel like I've healed and let go of this stuff, and then I got to dive back into it and tell all these embarrassing details. But there's something about this story, and I don't know, and I don't know, but maybe the guidance in the notes that I'm getting on it too is that I don't have to. It's just and maybe that's an old energy, but there's something about being vulnerable about it and expressing it in me going through this process that's just like done. And then I move on. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm enjoying it. It's been it's been helpful and helping me figure out some stuff. So back in Sackville, and yeah, this was the wild part as well, because this is essentially almost 2 years ago. And what I'm realizing is that a lot of this stuff that happened 2 years ago, or quite a bit of it, is like what I'm going through right now and what I'm experiencing. And I looked that up, and it's like, I don't know, my Mars cycle is 2 years. I'm not an astrologer. Like I love this stuff. All that stuff resonates with me. Any of my charts are bang on, but like I don't know how to explain it um, very well. But it's this like, and from what I understand, it's like it's not like I'm going back down to this other level. We're on this upward spiral. And so now I'm seeing everything again for the second time with a greater, um, with more awareness and more clarity and more, hopefully more of my stuff healed, and to not make the same mistakes. Are there, yeah, to not do the same things that I realized I wouldn't have preferred to do. But also realizing that that led me to here as well. But I want to be graceful going forward, and I want to be more mature. And I again, it's not putting pressure on myself to be anybody else but me, but it's this awareness to know how I'm talking, how I'm feeling, and when old things come back, to say, I see you, and to be conscious enough to pivot, to walk away, to do something differently. So yeah, I was because yeah, at that time, so they were, I had someone else staying in my apartment, and again, I had to give them notice, and I was coming back. So then I stayed with my friends for a couple months or something, and I think actually no, what happened, which signified it was time to come home. That the guy staying was saying, "I'm moving out on this date," and then I was like, "Oh," and then things kind of started happening. And I was like, "Oh, well, I would like to go home anyways and finish this work." I didn't really want to be traveling and moving around. I just wanted a place to, continue to dive into these things I was learning and experiencing. And but yeah, yeah. Pause for a second here. Yeah, and so back in Nova Scotia, and I got to see Queens of the Stone Age. They came to Halifax. It was like that's when things started changing too. It's like everyone started coming to Halifax and seeing, how amazing it was. These comedians started coming. I, I kicked myself for this. Ari Shafir came, and I didn't go to that. So I was dealing with stuff. And anyways, sorry, fucking. I wish I had gone to that show, but and just little things like books again. Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. It's just this amazing. It's like 30 or 40 pages, and you can read it in 30 minutes, and it's just one of the most, I think, for the word to impact ratio on my life, that thing, it was just really about just mastering my thoughts, my energy, and my emotions. And that's what I'm going through again now. And, I just came from before coming up here to Cape Breton to get in the now, switch to the now. I just done a 3-day meditation retreat put on by the Shambhala Center at Dorje Demaling, just outside of Tatamagouche. And to get back, because I was always a contemplator, but to understand that it's like my mind was just, from everything I've been through, was this overthinking, overworked, over complicating everything. And that I needed to get back to meditation. And, I started, and now I have that in my practice again today. So I'm, doing 5, 10, 15 minutes a morning and just sitting. And, 15 seems to be a nice one for me as and what just I had to get my body into that state. But I'll talk about that because I worked a lot to be able to sit in the position for meditation. But there's different ones, but save that for another day. And yeah, so it was come home, get my house back in order, the finances, all this stuff. And, made some mistakes, drinking too much when I got back as well. It was like when this thing unlocked in me, it was like I was like a child again. It was like I had this playfulness, this creativity. It was like none of this matters. It's fine. Who cares? And I also had this self-acceptance and this self-love. And not only that, like it didn't feel bad. Like the whatever, and what's drinking too much, you know what I mean, compared to what I used to, was way like not even close. So again, it's always less and less and less down, as I've massaged and transmuted and just healed my really with everything, with food, with sex, with just growth and mature, with literally with my phone. It's no different, right? It's just one of these things I really like to enjoy, but I don't want it to distract me. I don't want it to numb me, but I want to enjoy it. And I like that freedom so long as I don't get caught in the trap of like, oh, and when I do, I'm like, fuck this. I'm done. And I've still been, and what I talked about too, about like, I was like, before I came up, I'm like, man, it would kind of feel like maybe I should. And I've had that this summer and this spring as I was moving through stuff. I'm like, maybe I'll take another year off. Because I had done that before, and it was good. It was profoundly good. But I had some experience where it's also helped me too. So it's like, and my thing with Buddhism that I always loved is the middle path, not too tight, not too loose. And I'm also trying to get into the now. So when I do these time period things, although I like, again, just saying like a hard no for a month, I think is really good, and to clean your body out. And I'm not really doing that. Like, I haven't been doing that. But I'm just like going through periods of like, I'm not drinking for weeks. And then it's like, oh, someone's here and like, hey, you come have a beer with me. I'm like, okay. It's just like, it's allowing the universe to kind of provide that opportunity and not just going and doing it by myself for no reason. That type of thing. And yeah. Or maybe sometimes doing it, but no. Uh, we make exceptions to all. There's no rules to this thing, right? You can make rules, but and so God loved my friends, so they were trying to deal with. Yeah, they just had to put up with me going through this experience and being a little ungrounded through that process. And so God loved them, and you know and again, forever grateful for all my time there and for those amazing individuals. Shout out to Blake and Chris. Christine. And yeah, so now I'm like getting into creativity and things are good. So that's where it's like, now watch my wording. I was shown these things in that experience where I got some funny stories. And there might be like, this thing I could piece together that might, give some information on consciousness, but maybe I missed it because the cat's back. Hello. But I started playing with, I started going to open mics and trying some stand up bits. And man, people who say it's like, I should, some people I'm sure are naturals and amazing on that. You see that on Kill Tony where it's like the first or second time, but then you see people have been doing it for 10 years and you're like, oof. But that is an art, holy. And to be able to get stuff concise, like, I feel like my more natural talent is in the storytelling type of game. And I'm still learning and honing that. I'm still finding my words and I still stumble and have so many J-isms. And, I haven't edited the last two podcasts. So that's part of my process of learning and growing. But I'm in Cape Breton here with no Wi Fi. So all of these three are going to have maybe a similar flavor. We'll see. But I'm trying to do the work in meditations as I go to kind of keep my frequency and stop rambling as I ramble. So that was really cool. And like once, there was still anxiety with the stand up and stuff, but once I did it, like I don't know how many times, maybe 5 times I tried, but at the end of it, like I was like, all right, like this is fun. And, I'd still be nervous and still feel like dumb when like I had one set where the host was like, hey, I liked your set tonight. And that's part of like such a cool community because people knew that like it was my first time and like whatever. And I was just figuring it out. So they're encouraging, they're giving you support and just being really helpful and cool. That was really fun. And so again, as everything's coming back, I'm thinking, like, man, that'd be fun to try again, to work that material and to see if I could, again, this is why I'm pushing to kind of get caught up on this and this, that, and the other. But there is no, again, I need to get to the now. It's not about I need to force myself to get there and then it's done. Just need to enjoy this artful process and there is no behind, even if I feel like it. But I have this, I'm going through this another creative expansion where I'm like, I have all this stuff I want to do. I just need to start acting on it and doing my best to work on it, to get it out, to learn, to grow, to, not allow this stuff to fester inside me anymore. And to learn, to learn and see where it leads me, and the opportunities and what it provides. And hopefully I had some value and maybe I could only make this a little funnier, but I'm still trying to find out how to make jokes. It's like the stories are good. It's like, how the hell do I find this punchline? Anyways, that is an amazing art that I love and respect and would love to like work my ass off on that someday and see if I can, maybe, I don't know. I love the like conscious comedy, like Pete Holmes and hell, even Carlin, like that's what it was. He was talking about the systems and the bullshit. It's like very conscious comedy. And oh my god, I'm forgetting the other great. Oh my god, he's such an amazing, and kick myself for forgetting his name, but like that's the kind of stuff I want to, be into. I mean, it inspires the hell out of me. But anything, again, it's like laughter is, in what Richard said, is like in this new energy, in the new thing, in the new game. That the comedians and the artists are going to be the most important people because that's what we're moving to once we get new systems and everything in place and we can live healthy and allow the plants to take care of us and build the organic farms and the natural farms. Again, label. You'll learn about that as well too, as these corporations just made money off of that thing too. That's why I like here, it's just like no spray, because they're not paying, you gotta pay for this stuff. A lot of it's trickery, and a lot of stuff that's certified organic by USDA or whatever the fuck is sprayed too. Anyways, I don't know anything about it, but I've heard farmers tell me about it. So yeah, and I was getting, new routines. I actually started doing like these prayers every day, the holy incantation of solace with these mudras, and yeah, I was trying to figure out what is prayer and what is that, and well, I guess that's not even, it's an incantation. It's not a prayer, but you know, those things allowed me, and doing the Master Sha, the Tao calligraphy, and just by taking this hour, an hour and a half in the morning to really to raise my frequency and to that sacred time, and I'm trying to whittle it down to is an hour. An hour is more than enough, because I want to move my body and do the meditate, whatever, right? To have that thing. And I'm constantly adjusting that thing. And sometimes it's get up and get to work. And I'm beyond grateful that I have the ability, and that I work my fucking ass off to have that ability too, by the way. So I sell myself short on that by giving myself the opportunity, by taking the risk, by going all in, and of putting my fucking life savings at everything that I have into this. And so it's to try to figure out myself and to figure out how I can add more value. And at the end of the day, so this process of going home, I started my little accounting business, Alchemy Accounting and Advising. And, with the hopes of moving towards, maybe, because I was like feeling it, that I would move towards being able to offer services to help people, to guide people. Never got there. But to start that. And now I've had a couple people ask me, "Are you doing the accounting thing?" Because the last, 6 months, I was like, I had to let that go. I just, no bone in my body. I was going through too much, and with my consciousness, and I was like, I just can't play that game for now. And I was moving through it was kind of a consolidation of the last 5 years of everything I've experienced, and trying to, make sense of it all, to ground it all, to distill my inner being, my inner essence, and to refine what I'm working towards the future. And then, I'm like, this easy is right, and my investment didn't do, and we'll get into that because it's fine, but, and you'd be like, well, maybe I play the surrender experiment again, because now, which is saying yes to opportunities that come along. And I loved doing it because it was mostly my friends and family. So it was always just like, it gave me an excuse to, like, once a year, I gotta like see my buddy Steve, or not even see him, just have some meetings and calls, and we catch up. And, that was good and important to me. And, the work was, I enjoyed it too. And so I'm contemplating that, of being like, well, maybe I'll do that again. And whoever comes along, whoever wants to come back, it would be a good way to facilitate, to kind of like, and just to use those funds for maybe, to do some more good, to have fun, for travel, and to, oh my God, to see if I can build a cabin in the woods. And my mic died at the end of that. So that's all for now, folks. And yeah, I'm going to order some new mics. So hopefully that won't happen again. Ciao.
Pero de esa, 3 cuartos de una banda que teníamos hablando.